So, welcome to our Utrecht Blockchain Nights meetup. It's actually our first meetup, our Utrecht Blockchain Nights meetup online, and it's about DAOs. So we try with these kind of meetups, normally at Lisk Center Utrecht, we try to make blockchain accessible through different themes. So it can be about health and blockchain, it can be about, in this time, decentralized organizations and blockchain. It can also be about supply chains. So a range of different topics where we can talk about different concepts that might be solved or have innovations from the blockchain domain. Currently, we are live streaming, and but normally we do this at Lisk Center Utrecht, and therefore we have to thank our large sponsor, Lisk. So I quickly go by our community partners who we need to actually make the Lisk Center Utrecht go on. And then I will introduce two speakers of today who will tell you about what are decentralized organizations and what can you do with it. And I'm very curious what they will tell us. So a couple of announcements. I have to mention Lisk. They are building a blockchain application platform. If you are a JavaScript developer, try it, use it, and make sure to build your own blockchain in JavaScript. Also, Highbridge is one of our community partners. They are building an interoperability solution to connect all different kinds of blockchains. And they are actually doing a token sale currently, and they normally make use of the Lisk Center Utrecht as their co-work space. And then we also have Highbridge, which is a community partner, but we also have the founder here today. He will tell about his side project, Ethkids, but he is also founder of Highbridge, and he's trying to revolutionize insurance. So let's go to the meetup of today, and I'd like to introduce Peter Nobels, who is a frequent flyer at Lisk Center Utrecht and is very interested in decentralized autonomous organizations. And with us, he is also creating a proof of concept how we could create a decentralized Lisk Center Utrecht, or as we call it, a LCU community DAO. So welcome, Peter. He will give a short talk of 20-30 minutes and then keep the questions to the end. We have a short Q&A, and afterwards Kiril Ivanov will tell us about Ethkids, and we also have a short Q&A, and then I will close off. So welcome, Peter. Can you put on your stream?
Yes, I will. Can everybody hear me?
I can.
Yep. Okay, and do you see my screen and my presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But we see you.
Haha. I once again push the screen button. It says I got a message. Stream is stopped. Just try it again. Just a moment, please. Can you see something now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's start. And when you have questions or comments, please keep them. Perhaps only when something is hampering. Okay, well, this presentation is about our journey in developing and using a DAO. And with our journey, I mean the journey of the Lisk Center Utrecht, who wants to use and build a DAO. Something about myself. I raised a company a year ago with 3 partners. I'm a member of the Dutch Blockchain Coalition, and another one I was accountable for the blockchain lab at the University of Applied Science in Utrecht. Okay, let's dive into it. This is our agenda. First topic, what is a DAO? Perhaps most of you will already know, but just some thoughts about it. is the purpose of what's our purpose? What are our shared values? What do we aim for when raising and building a DAO? And then a subject, what we called building blocks. What are the concepts of making governance structure and an automated governance structure? And within a community, you can distinguish different groups. Some thoughts about that. And then 4 times in instantiating a DAO, in onboarding entities, in upgrading members, and in doing proposals and establishing community support. And we close with our roadmap and dialogue, questions and answers. Okay, what is a DAO? Well, it stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, and I prefer to use a verb, a decentralized autonomous organizing. It is not in the classic sense an organization with a boss and with employees, but it's more a way of organizing yourself in an automated way, which we call a protocol for governance, which is censorship resistant, and therefore, as we all know, blockchain is the way to go, and it can be to connect and to govern parties with different accountabilities, different legal entities or different, let's say different legal entities. I also put a wiki definition underneath, but I thought, well, let's make a definition myself, which I prefer more. Okay, let's go to the second subject. Well, what's the purpose of a DAO? Or better, what's our purpose? We want to facilitate a vibrant, sustainable ecosystem for people with a shared interest. In this case, it's a blockchain, and who also share the same values. We want to make our community vibrant, and we think that we need a DAO or DAO stack. I'll come back to that later. Is a necessary component to fulfill our envisioned ecosystem. Because automation makes it more easy to collaborate and to communicate and to make decisions. In the Netherlands, we go once every 4 years to vote for the Chamber of Representatives. And one reason is because we don't want to go every Monday with 70 million people to The Hague to vote on every subject. But when voting or governance is automated, the involvement of everybody can be much more higher, and the commitment and involvement can be raised. You can vote every, let's say, every 2 months or so. That automation makes this possible. So we think we need a DAO to have a better community. Okay, just some thoughts about shared values. I don't go too deep in this, but when establishing a DAO, you can establish in different ways. And for example, the first one, we will balance the interest of all parties. And when you make a voting system, which is based on funds and how much money you have in your wallet, perhaps you don't balance the interest of everybody. The people with the biggest wallets get the most influence. So we are discussing at the moment which our shared values will be, which will direct the way we establish and we develop our DAO. Okay, then the building blocks. We call them building blocks or concepts, mostly overlapping concepts, which we can use. These are governance concepts, not per se a blockchain. Some of those concepts are, but some aren't. Let's pick a few. And we want a trusted shared ledger. When we make decisions or we make proposals, we want to be sure that what's in the ledger is trusted and it can't be tampered with by anybody. And the second one, signing transactions. When I make a vote, for example, or do a proposal, I want to put my signature under it, so I'm sure, and all other community members are also sure, that it's my vote and not from somebody else. And once we did a voting to take this transaction, we want to be sure that it is handled by a mechanism, a consensus mechanism, which acts as agreed upon, which acts as the rules, along the rules we have decided upon. So the first three are really why we think we use blockchain for a DAO. And then self-sovereign identities, people owning their own data, governance body and memberships, different groups of people within our community. Verifiable credentials is a topic on its own, with issuers, with holders and with verifiers. I don't elaborate on this topic for everybody. This can be in a separate meetup at our blockchain nights. Proposals and decision making, really important in governing community. Okay, I put some icons to it. And the second slide on community building blocks, rewards. Can we reward people who add really much value to our community with extra voting weight or shares in our community? There are different examples of how you can reward people for their contribution to our community. Stack model, we don't only plan to have a root DAO for all members, but when we start initiatives or projects, we can also organize them as a DAO, and we call them those sub-DAOs. Well, some more building blocks. I don't go to elaborate on this because it will take too long, and I have some processes which explain also a little bit on funds. Just one more building block I want to address is purpose-driven tokens. Very, very nice concept on how you can nudge or how you can incentivize people to behave in a certain way, and behave in a way not only in which they contribute to themselves, but also that or incentivize them to contribute to the community as a whole. Okay, the next subject, let's get this there. Which groups do we envision within our community? Just for the moment now, as I told, we are on a journey and we are experimenting, we are finding out what works and what don't work. But let's start with all the community members. And within the big group of community members, you can distinguish perhaps the core members with additional authorization, with additional rights perhaps, and not on top but on bottom, to visualize that they are supportive to the rest. The governance body for the big decisions, a governance body which can be fluent, so it's not a board or let's say a board, but perhaps depending on the subject, the governance body can be different. Okay, in addition to the core members and the members, perhaps there will be contributors, and we picture them in this slide because we are not the only one in this world. We like to collaborate, and perhaps on an ad hoc basis, people can join us and help. And another group, we call them partners. Jurre already introduced some. These are more legal entities which can help us, or which we can collaborate to achieve our goals and to achieve different objects. And the last group, we call them the sub-DAOs, more the projects, the activities, initiatives. Sub-DAOs, within those sub-DAOs, you can also distinguish different groups. All the members, and perhaps they have their own governance body, and they have their own contributors, and they have their own partners. So this to start with. And now some examples or some processes we try to build the coming month to have a real DAO of ourselves, our LCU root DAO. Okay, the first process is in the instantiation of our root DAO. We want to be known within the DAO as a group. So the small, it's not too big a font, but I start with what do we want to achieve, an instantiated LCU root DAO. And for who do we want it? We want it as a governance body. And who do we ask to raise this DAO for us? And we do it ourselves. We say to ourselves, okay, what's the first step we have to take? The first step we have to take is that all governance members need an account. And it says an LDS account. This is a LCU DAO stack account, but in reality it will be, I think, a Lisk account. And once all the governance members have their account, then we can say, okay, now we can instantiate our real DAO. We make an address book. The first entry is our root DAO. And at the same time, we add ourselves to this address book as well. So now we have an address book with a root DAO and all the members of the governance body. This is our first process, and we are in the midst of this to experience with it. And within a few months, we'd like to establish this ourselves. Okay, what can be the second process or the second service? We don't want to be a governance body on our own. We like to onboard different entities. And let's say there's an applicant, a member who wants to be part of our DAO, and who says, well, governance body, how can I join your DAO initiative? And we say, well, the first step you have to take, create an account of yourself. Once you have an account, the second step we can take, we add you to the address book. And as they say, we and the process, as much as we strive to automate as much as possible of this whole process. This is all on a conceptual level, but this guides us and directs us to build and develop a DAO stack as we want it to be, and this is the way we want it to be. Okay, now we have an address book with the root members and with a lot, I hope, members. I'm going to work out. So when we have 3, 4, 5 people, there can be 3, 4, 5 people on this list, all applying for core membership. But now it's not enough that the governance body decides. The governance body says, well, we are going to open a voting. We're going to start a voting. So we read all the application for core membership and we start the voting. Let's say we started on Wednesday, tomorrow. It starts at 8 o'clock and it ends at midnight. And the application is open now. It says it started for voting. So this voting triggers a new process. This process says, well, okay, the voting on 8 in the morning will start. It starts by reading all eligible voters. It goes to the address book and it says who are obliged to vote for membership. And then it signals the voters, okay, there's a voting is open, everybody gets notified, and every eligible voter can go to the application for membership and read who is applying for membership. And when they say, well, it's a good idea to have this member on board and give them additional voting rights and additional authorities, I say yes, And once the voting is closed at midnight, the voting committee or the procedure reads the end result, and it also reads if the threshold is met, and the thresholds can be, let's say, 5 members must vote, because when only 2 members vote is not enough. And the threshold also can be 50% of the votes should be yes to apply a core membership. So the end result is posted on the list, and the governance body can read it. And one requirement is now met. The applicant has the support for his core membership of the community. But the governance body say, well, you need to meet one other requirement, and this is you have to deposit some funds. And those funds can be used later on. Everybody has to do it to fund activities or to fund initiatives. So the applicant decides to deposit the funds. The governance body can read it and now says, well, okay, you have met both requirements, support of the community, you've donated the fund, and now do we add you to the address book. So now we have in the address book the root DAO, the governance members, the members, and the core members. And perhaps the core members, you can give them additional voting rights. Just an idea. Okay, that's the third process. So we instantiated a DAO, we onboarded the members, we upgraded some members to the core membership. And the last process in this presentation we are going to build in the coming month is how to vote and how to establish support for a proposal. Just short, because this is almost similar to the process on voting for core membership. So somebody has a proposal, has an idea, and the governance body said, well, post it on our list of proposals, and then we start voting again, voting which triggers the eligible voters. The voters can read the proposal. They can perhaps go to the funds. Do we have enough funds for this proposal to support it with money or tokens? They then decide to vote. Again, it's midnight, Wednesday, and the voting is closed. The voting committee, in this example, the governance body, reads the end result, and the end result goes to the governance body and says, well, the community has voted for a yes, your proposal is supported, and now we can allocate the fund, part of the funds to your proposal. So this is not a process of a governance mechanism, and this is an example of a thing we'd like to build in the coming month. So, but perhaps you have noticed it's not all that simple. So we decided to start with a proof of concept, just a simple voting system where eligible voters are not selected, but everybody who in the address book can vote. Everybody has the same voting weight. We don't use the ballots yet. It's just you cast vote with your private and public key pair, so it's not anonymous. But, because we are a closed community, it's not a problem, I think. The only possible voting mechanism in the near future or in the POC and the proof of concept will be a yes or no voting, and we don't need funds yet other than tokens. Okay, this is our simple proof of concept. I'll come back to it later, how it fits in our roadmap. Okay, we also have some thoughts about how to implement our proof of concept. This is not my cup of tea, so if you have questions, don't ask me, but it's more Sander's cup of tea. But just to give you an impression how the backend will rely on some blockchain transactions and blockchain smart contracts. And well, they are called transaction in Lisk terms. Okay, a little bit about our roadmap. We are following 3 tracks. First track is learning by experimenting. Today we did a proof test voting with Aragon. This is also already an existing platform for DAOs. The second track is learning by building our own DAO. We just start with a proof of concept. And after our proof of concept is successful, we are going to build our real DAO, and we are really going to use it in the real world. To elaborate a little bit on our roadmap, the last weeks we did some experimenting. And said today we did test voting with just the 4 of us. And the next week we like to involve and do a test voting with a broader part of our community. Okay, the second track of our roadmap is our proof of concept. And last Sunday we did we applied for funding as part of the Lisk Builders program, and we hope to receive a grant, part of their funds, to build our own proof of concept. And the proof of concept will take us 6 weeks with hopefully a working DAO, very simple one, and some additional deliverables. And the third track of our roadmap, after our proof of concept, is building our first product increment, our minimal viable product. And we like to elaborate that to a minimal lovable product, and going further and further in the future. And perhaps even more groups working on our DAO. So, well, we said I should complete my presentation before 9:30, 8:30, excuse me. I think I succeeded, so we have some room for questions, I hope. So I switched to the Discord channel, and so I can participate in the discussion.
Thank you for the talk, Peter. Really interesting. So I'm looking forward to some questions about DAOs as a concept, or maybe about our proof of concept. So.
Anybody?
I see a question from Slinger in YouTube. The concept of a DAO has already been around for a long time. Why is Lisk DAO better than one of the other ones around?
That's a good question. I don't think it's better. Yeah, perhaps in the future it is. But the biggest reason, or the main reason we chose to build our own DAO is to experiment and to learn. And perhaps some concepts, we are experimenting with Aragon at the moment, and we find out that not all the concepts we envision are part of the Aragon. And Aragon is one of the DAOs who is really in front of the others. So when Aragon doesn't have it, yeah, well, why don't we build it for ourselves?
And additional, Slinger also said he is asking because he's thinking about adopting something like Colony.
Yes, the Colony is a nice one. Colony is, you see some niches evolve. Colony is strong in roles. Yeah, so the distinguishing the different kind of memberships. It's almost 1 year ago I read the white paper, so perhaps they evolved and they have more features at the moment. But they started with real good distinction between roles and their responsibilities and their tasks. So every what I'm saying, every DAO has its strengths and weaknesses. And perhaps good to know also that I have some connections with the colony, the DAO colony at the moment.
Slinger says, cool. Did you make an overview of the differences? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I overview, but I don't know if it's email or otherwise, and I supply it to you.
Perfect. Thanks for the answers.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And also, I think maybe to add to your answer is that we, as the Lisk Center community, we think it is a skill to have the possibility to build a DAO. So in the end, it's experimenting, and we run into all kinds of different problems probably. And some of them are technicals, but some are more like governance questions. And in the future, we can support other organizations or other people who are willing to start a DAO, and we can help them with it. So that's also one of the reasons we are trying to build it up from scratch.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the talk. And if there are no more questions, then I would say that we just go to Kiril directly.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello, everyone.
I can see you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice. Let me share my screen now. Yeah, do you see it now?
Yes, perfectly.
Cool. All right. Well, so good night or good evening, everyone. Well, it's a new format, really. This sort of meetup. It's I think it's the first one for me. But well, I'm happy to present you another form of a DAO, a little bit more, how to say, that's more focused on particular use case. That's well, the use case is social good. So that's a project that that's not really main project, but it's a hobby, and that here I'm trying to solve well, the charity stuff. So let me introduce myself. Yeah, I'm a founder of Highbridge, a company called Highbridge, which tries to disrupt the traditional insurance. I'm a builder of 17 years old, 17 years of experience, and a father of two. And I was, well, the plan was wanted to talk about Ethkids only, but then I decided that maybe it's the few, well, it would be really interesting. Another use case that I built in scope of Highbridge, my main activity is the, I just submitted literally yesterday to It Global a hackathon. It's an interesting use case about the decentralized insurance. And then I just realized that basically it's exactly really also another case of a DAO. So, well, sorry for I didn't tell you, Jurre, but it won't take you longer than 2-3 minutes. And I think it's a nice use case to highlight. So I built some. You should see now my browser. So this is a beta version of their, well, another project called Terminal. Terminal is the decentralized protocol for trip delay protection. So what I'm trying to do here, actually, I'm trying to disrupt a specific use case in traditional insurance with the decentralized concept. So that's a product that I want to make not only for people, actually in this case for geeks who are crypto friendly, but also with people. So to allow them to participate in what's called traditional insurance, but on another side of it. So let's first cover the first really simple use case. So this is a train delay protection. So imagine I'm taking the trip from, let's say, London to Paris on on 1st of June, and I already got a ticket, and that's a morning train that I will be taking. So here's information about the train. It will supposed to take 83 minutes, and I know that if this train gets delayed for a particular amount of time, I'm supposed to take some financial losses. Maybe I will miss my flight, or maybe I will miss some important meeting, whatever. So I decide how much I want to lock. Basically, well, traditional terms is how much I want to buy the insurance, and that will be the payout that I will get in case of 2 hours plus delay, and that's an amount that I will get in case of my train cancellation. I just confirmed that I got a ticket, and I understand that this is just autonomous machinery, and it's not an insurance, and nobody will be able to get my money back in case if something goes wrong. And then, well, MetaMask full, MetaMask full screen. Okay. And that's pretty much it. And the idea is that if my train gets late, then I will receive automatic payout. So I don't need to claim or call any smart contract or use basically any app. So I will automatically receive the payout. I think it's pretty cool, but this is half of the story because there is a, let's not wait for a blockchain. So we go to another menu item, and that's what I meant by there another side of the insurance, because here you can see the basically two vaults, and the right one is it's actually the DAO. But first, okay, left one is the like sort of operational funds that are used for payouts. So they supposed to go up, sometimes down, sometimes up, sometimes down. But on the right side, it's what's called traditionally reinsurance, is the bigger vault that holds money for payout if really something hits the fan. And this is basically the sort of a DAO because it allows everyone to lock some funds in here and benefit from continuous interest. And the interest comes from two sources. One is the fee from the sales of this small fee on the sales of these protections, and the second one is the integration with their DeFi protocol called Ive. It's about the, well, you must perhaps if you heard of Compound or DYDX, then Ive is one of those where you can deposit your stable tokens and get the continuous interest on that. I don't know why it's 0%. It's test network, it's supposed to be around 4. So that's pretty much it actually. So that's sort of a really simple DAO where you can lock the funds and get a fee on it. So that's what I wanted to say. Let's keep in touch if you have any ideas, because it's really just an alpha, and I've literally finished it yesterday, so that's really fresh. But get back to Ethkids. So Ethkids, it's open source, fully open source, absolutely no commercial, no any business model behind. Protocol for charity donation for children. What it means, it's basically just a donation platform. So you can donate some crypto funds towards to help kids around the globe. Why is that? Why actually I made it? Because it tries to solve the problem of short-lasting relations with the donors. And how it tries to solve it, basically the idea is to offer their, maybe it's no, okay. Yeah. So exactly how it works. So this is just a registry of non-governmental organizations. So every organization can register on the protocol and start raising funds in crypto. So the company is registered, and then donor can pledge their choose the one and donate some sort of portion of the funds. These funds get split in proportion, so 9 to 10. 90% go directly to the NGO and stay at the vault, but 10% go to so-called the community vault, which basically backs up. So that's sort of a community. So it's a decentralized organization of donors, and this vault holds the crypto funds. What it does in return, it means their special token, well, a goodie called chance, which donor receives. And this is where the magic kicks in, or some DeFi ideas. So every time the donation happens, amount of the goodie of the previous one is depends on the price of the goodie, right? So price of the goodie is, well, I use the token bonding curve. So on the left side, you can see what, for instance, if you know what Bancor is. If you don't, I'll quickly explain. The Bancor is the protocol for continuous liquidity. It's a market maker, on-chain market maker protocol that guarantees 100% liquidity. So on the left side, again, you can see that bigger the supply of the token is, the higher price is. So more tokens are minted, higher the price is. Meaning that, and at every moment, every holder of the token can liquidate against the curve. When at the moment of liquidation, this token gets burned, meaning that supply goes down, and along with that, the price goes down as well. So more demand on the token, the higher the price is, and everybody always can liquidate the token. So this is how Bancor works. There is a formula behind, quite complicated, but what is important is the RR is the ratio, reserve ratio, which is might be, let's say, 10%. 10% means it goes exponential. If it's 50%, then it's linear. If it's 90%, then it's like this. But you can choose what you want. What Ethkids use, it's similar concept. It's also the same bonding curve. So imagine we are somewhere here at the end. So the current supply is 2,000. However, the price of the token is personal. It's not common for all. It's not here. It's around 500. No, the price is specific for each person. In this case, we have someone looks like Satoshi and Vitalik. Someone looks like Vitalik. And so Satoshi is the holder of the token, and he owns approximately, well, 30% of the total supply. And his personal price is like, let's say, 70. Vitalik, who is not giving it away, he has bigger portion. Hence, his personal price is higher. What it means is that Satoshi and Vitalik can liquidate the same amount of tokens, basically sell it back, but the return will be different for each. How to get, so the best position, as you can imagine, is somewhere close to, well, as high as possible in the curve. And here's the magic is, in order to get there, you must donate, because that's the only way to get this chance token. You can only donate it, you cannot buy it because it's not transferable by design. So in order to, well, you need to donate, and then you get it back. But if you don't, and that's absolutely fantastic, because if you don't, but others do, your personal stake will slowly go down, meaning that your price will slowly go down. It is good and this is bad. Bad is because you obviously will liquidate it for lower price, so you can sell it for lower price. But it's also good because if you again donate, you will effectively buy it, but buy for cheaper than yesterday or months ago. So it's basically a carrot and a stick. So carrot because your price constantly will go down, but the stick is because your price constantly goes down. So you want to donate, or you might be interested in donating again. And that's basically the market making behind the Ethkids community. So, well, we are working on a version 2 at this moment. So what I already explained, it's live. It's live for around, I think we are like 1 year on mainnet already. It's a hobby. We have a couple of contributors only, so it's not that big. But there is a version 2 ahead, which has even more interesting aspects. It's the passive charity. We plan to support the passive charity with savings protocols. What it means is that you can lock your funds, similar to basically terminal at the train delay, what I showed you before. You can lock your funds in a saving protocol like Compound or Ivy or DYDX or any other, but the interest earned can be forwarded to charity. Sort of a no loss. There is also pool together, for instance, no loss game, where you don't lose anything. Here is no loss charity. So you lock your 100 DAI, and this 3% that go on top of this will be directly donated to kids. I think it's cool. Another one is fiat on ramp. So we plan to basically we realize that we are targeting now really just a niche of geeks, crypto geeks, and we want to make it available for a larger audience. So that's why we are looking into the crypto widget. So the existing NGOs like UNICEF, the big ones, who don't care about the crypto and stuff, they can simply accommodate the widget on their web page and start raising funds in crypto, offering people this crypto goodie in return. And it's also, what I also like is not only because it's for good, but also because that's basically the way to adoption. Imagine if you are a normie and you're at the UNICEF webpage, and you can donate in your normal MasterCard or Ideal, whatever payment. But if you install the MetaMask, whatever, you don't know obviously what it is, or not you, most of people don't. But if they install the MetaMask, they will get some crypto award back. Yeah, I think that's cool. It's a good way of adoption also to mass audience. Well, that was pretty much it. Yeah, well, I'm proud that we won some award half year ago at LabitConf in Uruguay. So that's our NFT that we got as an award. Well, that's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Really cool.
Thanks.
Are there questions? So at first, it's a really cool concept, indeed, for adoption, and also like it's cool that it is like a hobby project and it's already running for a year. So are you following how many people are using it?
Yeah, well, it requires some certain marketing, of course. And when I do that, then amount of people growing. But well, I don't do it. In fact, I don't plan to promote their web page, so ethkids.io, because that's just not the way I like. I really hope to take another route with this widget, etc. So the companies can. I don't need to promote it. It will be promoted by their NGOs. And that's the whole idea of the protocol. We didn't really put it as a protocol before, so it's you need to really go to the web page, etc. So that's not that high, honestly. It's just a few hundreds, I don't know, maybe 500 euros that have been raised. And actually, it's one NGO registered at this moment. We got some interest. So after this award, we got there was some interest, and there are a few NGOs that are interested in registering to help Venezuela, to help well, few out there. So, but step by step. That's, I think that we've been past the stage where the maturity is proven, and now the version 2 comes. And then we grew up in the NGOs amount of companies. the communities, the charity organizations. I mean, then we think of really growing there further.
Cool. So if someone wants to donate right now, should he wait for the version 2.0?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Nice. And how can we help with Ethkids?
You mean financially or?
Anyway.
Financially, just go to Ethkids and you donate with your MetaMask. In other way, well, just I don't know if you're in touch with any NGO or any organization which tries to help kids, education, medicine, whatever. Well, please revert, and I'm happy to register your or NGO that you want to help. So that's exactly what I did. I the first, well, only one at this moment is the charity organization that I know. I don't know them in person, but I know that what they do. I trust them. So basically, I'm playing here also I'm a leader of this particular NGO. So all the money that I raised in crypto, I take, only I can do them. I can take them out. Then I swap them to euro, and then I send directly to their euro account. They are not crypto friendly. So if you're in touch with any like this, well, please get back and let me know, and we will register your or any other organization.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
So then let's wrap it up for tonight. I would like to thank Peter Nobels for his interesting talk about DAOs and also about the proof of concept we are trying to build with the LCU community. And I'd like to thank Kiril Ivanov, founder of Highbridge, which is a partner of Lisk Center, and about his talk about Ethkids. And next time will be about health. So we are going to talk about clinical trials and what blockchain can do to help and support the process of clinical trials in testing new drugs. We will have Spherion, blockchain company, and I think Trial.io here in the studio, or yeah, probably digital. So make sure you will be there next time, and hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, post them in our Discord or go to liskcenter.io and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jurre, to organizing. Thanks.
You're welcome.